Hey, welcome to Men on Everything, our weekly show where we talk about everything that's in the news. In New York City is Mark Clark. In Washington, D.C., with his smoke alarm still malfunctioning, is Troy Johnson. And I'm Tony Scott in my basement in St. Louis.
That's actually my co-host.
Is that your co-host?
Yes.
Okay, I got you. So the governor of Missouri yesterday declared a state of emergency, getting prepared for this grand jury decision regarding Darren Wilson's shooting of Mike Brown. Darren Wilson, the Ferguson police officer. And a lot of people are... Governor Nixon, or as we starting to call him here, Governor Mumbles, because he was asked yesterday by the Huffington Post, does the buck stop with you? And his answer, I don't know if you heard his answer, but you should search it out on the Google. And he was, and it was actually, people in Missouri are used to that. But the world got to see this, and it wasn't a good representation. So, wow. But he's declared a state of emergency that will include not only Ferguson, but the city of St. Louis and other parts, too, of St. Louis County. In anticipation of this decision, I don't know what the decision is going to be. Everybody seems to think that he's not going to be indicted. I choose to believe otherwise. And again, just I said this on my podcast that to me, if I was on that grand jury, I would say, you know what, indict him. Let's get out of here and let's move him to let the jury decide whether he goes to jail. Let's just indict him so I can get back to my life.
Yeah.
That would be me. Is it wrong to say that? Absolutely, it's wrong to say that. But at this point, I mean, as a grand jury member of that particular grand jury, do you feel pressure because if you don't indict him, that your house may burn down? I mean, you know what I'm saying? I mean, it's.
You get the sense that people would take it to that level.
Oh yeah, yeah, dude.
They got the grand jury folks marked.
Well, I don't know if they got them marked, but it's very tense here right now.
It does seem like it is.
Yeah, and if you don't feel the tension, then you're not paying attention. Okay? I know the group Anonymous, I don't know if you heard about what they did.
Yeah.
But last week, the Klan said that they were coming to Ferguson and they were going in, man. They were going to let these protesters do what the protesters said they were going to do. And so Anonymous, dude, what Anonymous did you see what they did?
I took the names down. Then I got scared.
Dude, they posted names, they posted pictures, they posted cars, they posted dudes sitting on their motorcycles saying, yo, this dude's name is so-and-so and he lives in St. Louis. I mean, they went in hard.
They took over the website and the Twitter account. And the Klan was stupid enough to threat. They ain't doing nothing yet.
Yeah.
When are you going to do something? Then the next shot was of a Klansman hanging.
I mean, it's not... It's not funny, but the boldness, the ballsiness of Anonymous, which I'm not criticizing them on any level at all, but wow.
Not there's anything wrong with that.
Not that there's anything wrong.
They had cops who were Klansmen. They put their name down. They put
pictures
their
too.
wives down.
Yep.
They put the clubs. And the sad part was, all the guys that looked like they were in the Klan looked like they were in the Klan. There wasn't one picture where you were like, oh, that's shocking. Everybody looked like they would be in the Klan.
Now, one thing, though, Mark, that I wish I had not seen, was there was a picture of a child, and they didn't blur his face out. And that wasn't, let's leave the kids out of this.
Yeah. And
all right.
Troy's smoke detector agrees with that also.
Yes, that's right. So, but, we wait for the decision. And then we will move accordingly. I mean, it's just one of those things where, like I said, everybody's by the day. When he announced the National Guard state of emergency thing, everybody got to be thinking that this week could be this week.
It's funny because it's kind of nobody knows when this is going to happen. Outside, you have the governor who's made all these arrangements. You've got a unified police force, so the county and the city police, all of the police agencies around the area are going to be able to respond wherever anything happens as a unified group. But then, and a few weeks ago we talked about the school system wanting a heads up. There's no clue as to when this has happened. or when it's going to happen. News agencies don't know when it's going to happen. But I did hear someone say, it's going to happen this week. Or is it?
Yeah.
It's kind of like, it seems like this is something that would happen before, the Thanksgiving holidays arrive. But I mean, there's no measure of understanding when. But everybody's mobilized. Everybody's ready. Not just in St. Louis, but you have people around the country who are also ready to protest if things don't go the way that they'd like to see them go. So
they were saying even the Black Panthers were going to come, but then he got sick, so they're not coming.
You know what? We'll just have to wait and see. It's a wait and see thing as tension mounts, man. It's one of those things. Tension for Bill Cosby, man.
Oof.
Oh
my God.
Barbara.
Awkward moment of the week goes to Bill Cosby.
Barbara Bowman went on Good Morning America, and she says that I had one glass of wine, and next thing I knew, I was coming to, slumped over the toilet. But who's going to believe that? Bill Cosby, Dr. Huxtable, who's going to believe that? And, is it unfair to Bill Cosby? Absolutely unfair, because Bill Cosby has never been charged with anything. Bill Cosby he's never been charged with anything, and you're supposed to be innocent till proven guilty. Now, he did settle with one woman, but like Whoopi Goldberg said on The View, she goes, I know what it feels like on every side of the situation, she said, and trust me, when you settle with someone, it does not mean that you're admitting any sort of guilt.
No, Tony, when you say is it unfair, what do you mean? What's unfair?
It's unfair to call him a rapist and stuff, and nothing has been proven. It's never even gone to court. He's never even been tried. I'm not sure if he's ever even been interrogated. He may have been.
I don't know. You say it's unfair for her to go on television and tell this story?
I think
she'd be lying.
Absolutely. I mean, why would it take this long? I mean, and even if it were true, haven't the statute of limitations? There's nothing that can be done to him.
No, but okay, hold on, Tony. Now, I think you're saying it's unfair to cover people who say somebody did something.
I think it's unfair for the court of public opinion to already condemn this man when he hasn't even gone through the justice system. He hasn't even been charged. I mean, dude, you're on the radio in the largest radio market on the planet, so you're pretty high profile. So if it came out that somebody from when your days here in St. Louis almost 20 years ago that you sexually assaulted somebody, and it was not true, but everybody said, I saw him being kind of aggressive with a woman in a club one time. He was kind of like, that would be unfair.
Well, but here's the thing. Bill Cosby in an interview on NPR, did you hear that?
Yeah, he wouldn't answer it. But that's his right. That doesn't mean you're guilty.
No. You can't have your cake and eat it too, though, Tony. If in fact that happened to me, and I'm in the media, okay, I'm a public figure, but I happen to be on the radio. If somebody accuses you of something like that, you have to defend yourself. You can't nod your head. As critical as Bill Cosby has been, he has to know that it opens you up to a lot of criticism. Now, if in fact this happened to me, I use myself, Tony, and 14 different cases people have said that Mark Clark did something, I have to know that I need to deal with this. Bill Cosby did not deal with it, and it came back to bite him in the ass. Now, we can't control public opinion.
True.
All he can control is his comments. If I'm Bill Cosby, I would have been fighting for my life because he has the benefit of being Bill Cosby. Everybody, he's America's favorite dad. Nobody wants to believe what that. So if he commented about it, then I think he would defend himself, and people would believe him.
Well, I think he chose to try to do the Jedi mind trick. He feels like, it seems like in this situation. Okay, the NPR interview, the guy asked a great question, and Mark, you alluded to it. People love you. They don't want to believe that this situation is true, and they want to hear from you. And what did he do?
You're nodding your head. You're nodding your head for us.
But then on Sunday, his attorney released a statement that said these are old allegations, they are unfounded, blah 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 blah, and I will not address them.
And maybe he was following his lawyer's advice. If the subject comes up in this NPR interview, don't say anything. I don't know. I'm not.
Cosby is not guilty. He killed himself.
Well,
if Bill Cosby is not guilty, the first thing he should have said was, "Hello, this is Bill Cosby," and then said his whole piece, and people would have believed him because he dealt with it honestly and he didn't hide behind his lawyer.
But
now
Mark,
it's too late.
But Mark, it's a little bit different when the stakes are as high as they are on the level of Bill Cosby, who, you know, anything that he says could be down the road used against him. So it's better not to say anything. Strategize with your people and maybe address it down the road, even though his lawyer says he's not going to be addressing this. That could change. But to me, it's like, I don't think that he necessarily, one, was prepared to deal with it in an NPR interview, and was prepared to deal with it at all. He might still be strategizing. His lawyer might have said, you know, there's a difference. When you're Bill Cosby, who was worth hundreds of millions of dollars, and if you say something that can be used against you, if you can say, you know what, I don't ever recall meeting that woman, and then all of a sudden there's a picture of you slow dancing with her at a gala, then it doesn't matter if it was innocent or not. You lied. So now you're in a box. And I think that that's something that needs to be remembered, is that, you know, there's our world and then there's his world. I'm not defending him. He doesn't need me to defend him. But I think that there is something to be said for reserving comment until you're ready to address it. Maybe he's not ready. I'm just you know, speaking out loud here.
Well, you need to be getting ready.
This is true. But I'm wondering, though, is there a statute of limitations on crimes like that?
You know, some of these allegations happen in Philadelphia, which is his hometown.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's actually where this firestorm kind of started when the comedian brought up these things in his show in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
And I did see a television reporter talk to someone. I don't know if it's an attorney or if it was a state's attorney or a DA, something like that. And the question was, you know, well, if any of these allegations or if someone filed a report on Bill Cosby, can they open those files up and take a look at them? And it was kind of like, well, you know, if those things exist, they can be examined, but then again, you still have to go to the statute of limitations.
Yeah.
So, you know, we don't know if any of these women at this point have.
But you know what, Troy? That's
a complaint.
That's the main thing, is that we don't know anything other than these women say that Bill Cosby sexually assaulted them. Mm-hmm. That's all we know. That is what they're saying. You know, we haven't heard from him, as is his right. You know, you go to court over something, if you're the defendant, you don't have to take the stand. So, I mean, it's a lot more complicated. There are a lot more layers than I think that we realize.
Hey, Tony, have you seen the apparently he back in the day did a joke about drugging a woman?
No.
Yeah, apparently there's a joke out there about him kind of slipping something into a woman's drink, and you know, I haven't heard the joke, but you know, they are unearthing all the comments that Bill Cosby could have made, or anything that alluded to anything that is similar to any of these situations that these women are claiming. But they go back a ways.
Yeah, I feel bad.
1969.
I feel bad for Camille.
Camille also shook her head.
Yeah. Yeah, but she shook her head saying, I'm going to kick this dude's ass.
You know, that ride home was not fun.
Yeah. Cornelius Anderson, known as Mike Anderson, is the young man who was convicted of a crime but never served time because the justice system forgot about him and he didn't go and turn himself in and no one ever came to get him. And then it was revealed many years later that he didn't do that, so he was arrested. He had been living what apparently was an exemplary life, and the judge said, time served, you're good to go, you're fine. You showed a great example, all these accolades and stuff. Well, supposedly over the weekend, he allegedly snatched a woman's purse and was arrested. Now it's important that we say alleged because he was apprehended. He was taken to the woman and another witness who identified him as the one. His lawyer says he doesn't look anything like the suspect or something to that effect. Where he's not the guy, is what they're saying. So it's important. Which if it turns out that it's true, and I pray that it's not, that would be a very sad story because here you got a second chance and you were living your second chance as you're supposed to. And now you fell off the wagon, and if you did commit this crime, well, now you're gonna have to pay the price. But I'm hoping it's not true. I say it's alleged because I don't want it to be true.
No, I mean, after all of the goodwill that people kind of demonstrated toward him, and for all intents and purposes, the way he described his experience, being involved in his church, he was coaching kids football, he was doing everything that he's supposed to do.
Right.
But that's what makes the news interesting because, and it's funny, from this angle as a journalist at times, people ask, why is the news bad all the time?
Yeah.
It works on the assumption that things are supposed to happen the way they are supposed to happen in the first place.
Yeah.
You do not expect a congressperson to go to Washington, D.C. and get involved in a scandal. They're supposed to be there to represent you.
Right.
School is supposed to open and close without kids getting into a massive fight with a whole bunch of viral video.
Mm-hmm.
The snowplow is supposed to plow your street when there's a blizzard and you go to work.
Mm-hmm.
But when those things don't happen, that's what news is because it's not happening the way it's supposed to happen. Right. Same thing with the Bill Cosby situation. I mean, among other things. So this guy, I'm with you, Tony. I hope that it's a case of mistaken identity. I hope,
man,
it just after all that, after all of that, to snatch somebody's purse. Come on,
man.
That's just not the way to go out.
ISIS apparently beheaded yet another. This was an American who apparently while over there he changed his name. He became a Muslim. I think he was forced to become a Muslim or something like that. But apparently, whatever the situation was, it wasn't enough to save his life, and he was executed by ISIS. Which, every time that happens, it's like, what are we going to do about this? Something has to be done, But the answer, I mean, again, the answer to everything that major that happens in life is usually a lot more complicated than we think it is.
Yeah. Look at the way these situations have unfolded with ISIS, and we talked about this before, and how anybody who's beheaded in this kind of way, that in essence these people are not, they do not represent. We know this. They don't represent the Muslim faith.
Right.
They bastardized it. You see an American killed, which of course, hurts us. They're trying to make a statement to us. But at the same time, even in this particular video, there were 12 Syrians that were also beheaded on an extremely, from what I understand, an extremely graphic video.
Mm-hmm.
So, what is the end game?
Right.
I think they said that this particular video was different because it wasn't, we talked about this before, it wasn't the high-tech, well-lit video situation. It was grainy. It wasn't staged the same way, which leads some experts to believe that these airstrikes that we've been having over the last couple of months may be impacting. They're not able to be out doing these grand, these grandstanding moments because we're going to drop a bomb on them.
Right.
But it's making them change up, and they feel like it could be a, desperation.
Right.
Because they can't do anything about these airstrikes.
Yeah, that's true.
You can't cut your way out of an airstrike.
No, you can't. You can't do that. So, Adrian Peterson, it was announced today, has been suspended for the rest of the NFL season by NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell without pay. The union says they're going to appeal. I don't know if Roger Goodell should any longer be the final voice of discipline, given the way he handled the Ray Rice incident and what we found out just about how much that was bungled by the NFL, and the buck clearly stops with him. And I don't know if the Ray Rice thing would not have happened this year. I don't know if he would have been suspended. I don't know. This is part of the commissioner's new approach to players who are guilty of domestic violence. And it's funny because somebody posted on, I forget what social media, that's not domestic violence. He hit his kid, he didn't hit his wife. I was like,
there's too many rules. We don't understand.
Domestic violence is a umbrella. There's a lot of things that go under that. Beating your wife, beating your kids, beating your mother or father or your grandparent or a sibling, all that falls under the umbrella of domestic violence.
That's right. We need a class. There's too many rules, Tony.
Man.
But I think that I agree with you. The Ray Rice situation not handled correctly. And now here we are. This Adrian Peterson situation today reminds me of the Ray Rice situation in the sense that, is this another double punishment?
Right.
Ray Rice suspended 2 games. Then they come back and suspend him indefinitely. So he's got a grievance. It's like, what's it going to be?
Yeah.
I should get punished once and that's it.
Well, yeah, but at the same time, there were some lies that were told.
Yes.
So had the truth come out when it was supposed to come out, would you have begotten the big discipline, the combined discipline as one discipline? I don't know. I don't know.
I was hearing former running back Bettis.
Jerome Bettis, the bus.
Jerome Bettis, the bus was on ESPN this morning, and he was saying, it's confusing for players because they don't understand what is the rule.
Well, here's the answer: don't hit your woman. Don't spank your kids don't hit your kids with a stick. Don't do that.
That's true. But and I'm with you on that, Tony. Absolutely. But I think if we have learned anything and taken like a look into what the life in the NFL is like for everybody, coaches, people that work for the NFL, players, it's all about routine. They stay at the same hotels when they play a game. They travel on the same days, and all of these things are all set up in a similar way. You know what's going to happen next.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing with discipline. If you get a fine, you got to pay it. It's got to be in on Monday to the league office, whatever the case may be. But this just seems like, okay, this happened once, then they just change that, and then they want to do this. And like you said, it's a situation where the guy who is under the gun, Roger Goodell, is still making decisions as the commissioner.
Yeah.
When there's too much limbo going on.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. That is very true. Bob Marley apparently is going to be the face of the first global brand of marijuana. He's going to front something called Marley Natural. It's a premium cannabis brand rooted in the life and legacy of Bob Marley. All right? The company that's New York City based will offer pot-infused creams as well, accessories and strains of heirloom Jamaican cannabis, all cleanly packaged by Heckler Associates, the same agency that branded New Balance and Starbucks coffee. So this is
Tony, this is some BS. No, this ain't gonna work. Of all the people who smoke marijuana that we know in the public sphere, Bob Marley,
he smoked his share.
He smoked his share, Tony. But come on, Bob Marley smoked from the tree of life that was in his backyard. He wasn't running down to no shop. He didn't go to Amsterdam.
No.
The joint, no pun intended, was in his house.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. He grew his own.
He grew his own. You're not going to the store to get some weed, man. Come on.
Man. And while we're talking about weed, man, Dave Chappelle is GQ's Man of the Year. And in the interview, he says that back in the day, Idris Elba was his weed man in New York.
Huh? What?
I was like, wait a minute. I was like, oh, wait a minute.
Hold up.
Dave Chappelle, was it necessary for you to, I'm Idris's agent. Was it necessary for you to put that information out there? How did that benefit you, Idris, society, fans of either one of you guys? Could we have done without that little nugget, Dave Chappelle? I'm speaking as Idris's agent.
Hey, man.
As his people.
Apparently you need to speak as Stringer Bell's agent from The Wire. No wonder he was such a convincing lead in that show.
Well, yeah, but it's. I read that, I was like, really, Dave Chappelle? You had to throw him under the bus like that, man? Idris is on the roll of a lifetime. He's on the roll. And by the way, I don't know if you've ever watched Luther. His BBC series.
I definitely want to see that.
It's on Netflix, and I've watched almost all 3 seasons. It's a great. It's dark, but it's a great show. But my understanding today, I read where he cut a deal with Fox in the U.S. where they're going to do the show here. They're gonna. I don't know if they're gonna redo it, repackage it, shoot it all over again in America. I don't know, but apparently Luther, the TV show, the Idris Elba show, is coming to Fox TV. So something to look forward to down the road.
Luther is he a detective?
He's a detective with the Scotland Yard.
Okay.
And he is sharp as a detective, but he's a tormented man. His wife, who was leaving him, is killed. She was going to marry someone. Or maybe she already was married to somebody else, and he still loved her. And it's one of those things where it's a very interesting show. Like I said, it's dark. It's very dark, but it's I'm trying to get Mark. We've been trying to get Mark back in here.
Yeah.
And see. All right, here we go. But yeah, a great show if you get a chance to. It's on Netflix because I watched it last weekend. So if you get a chance to watch it on Netflix, you should, because it's a good show. But like I said, it's a pretty dark show, man.
That's too dark for America, Tony.
No.
I'm saying that's why it's gonna have to be reshot. In a show called Luther, there actually is going to have to be some Luther Vandross in there.
I don't know, man. I don't know if his estate will license that, man.
We're Americans, man.
Yeah.
We know Luther. What the hell is Luther? It has to have some kind of time. Like, he can still be a detective, but he's got to have 3 background singers.
There you go. There you go.
Something like that's going to have to happen.
And the show's got to start out. Do. So, we were talking earlier, Mark, that Dave Chappelle revealed in a GQ interview that back in the day, Idris Elba was his weed man.
Oh, yeah. That's
I was like, oh, no, man, no. I don't know if you saw the picture of Solange, man. She apparently broke out in hives, and someone got a snapshot of that, and it looks painful. Not criticizing, it just looks painful. And on a day when it's supposed to be the happiest day of your life, and this is her second bite at the apple, right? She's been married before. But this is the day that's supposed to be joyous and everything. And for you to break out in hives, I don't know if it was the pressure of getting married, because apparently it happened at her reception, so that was over with. Maybe it was something she ate. Maybe it was somebody's cologne.
Man, you have to refrigerate the shrimp cocktail. You can't can't leave it out.
I have allergies, and I've been there before. And it probably looks worse than it is.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully it's just very uncomfortable, but it's not super bad. It just looks crazy.
Man,
what's interesting about it was, she had a nice little internet moment because people were feeling the whole vibe. You know, they rode in on bicycles to the wedding, and people loved her outfit, and everybody dressed in white and all that stuff. And then the breakout, it's like, okay, what's going on now?
I mean, it just seemed like it ruined the whole thing, and I'm sure it did not. But you know, when you're a bride on the most special day of your life, you don't think about breaking out in hives. You know, that and you don't want your period to start. You know,
that was all that white. That was a whole other problem.
You know what? Stop.
I understand she's allergic to Matthew Knoll. That's why.
Is that what it is?
He came to the back door and she broke out.
Man.
Daddy ain't invited to the wedding? What?
So I saw a lot of apparently her husband, and I forget his name, but apparently that big, giant, thick beard he has, apparently that's like a thing with women now. They like that. Yeah. Who's the basketball player that plays, I think he plays for the Rockets? Hart, yeah. He's got that beard. Apparently women like the big, giant, thick, Grizzly Adams, manly, take me right now beard.
But you gotta have a fade with it too. Like you gotta have a massive beard and then a really short haircut.
So that beard wouldn't work any other way. I mean, you couldn't have some locks or anything like that, or you couldn't.
There's a lot going on, Tony.
Is it a lot going on?
You might have an infestation.
What's interesting about this guy's beard is he's been growing it for a long time because the man is 51 years old.
Is he really?
Yes.
He doesn't look 51.
3 years her senior.
He doesn't look 51.
Nah.
You know?
And he's an artist, director, so I think the artist types, they get a pass.
Okay. All right. Well. So do you think back
we have a chef cooking for you every day?
Yeah, it's true. It's true. You think some months ago when that whole thing happened in the elevator, you think he got involved at all down the road or anything like that?
Nope. All he did was listen. I know. You're right, honey. You're right. I know. He has an ass. I know. He does. Yep. You're right, honey.
I'm gonna be over here.
You don't think he called Jay-Z? You don't think he called Jay-Z for a sit down, man?
That's all I got for you, baby.
Right. He's a thinker. He was like, yeah, baby, I know. He does control her. I know.
Man. That's.
I heard somebody. I talked to somebody, an insider, who said that they interviewed Beyonce, and what struck her was how nervous she was.
So how nervous Solange was to be getting married?
No, how nervous Beyonce was.
Oh, really?
She said her lip quivered for like 6 minutes when she interviewed her.
About the wedding?
No, it was about her.
Oh, really?
Wow. Interesting. I was just like, and again, you know how we do. We project. Jay-Z's controlling her dad control. But who knows what the real issue was? But sure. I thought that was pretty interesting.
Well.
Is there any video?
there is video, but then I'd have to divulge my source, Troy.
Well, we can't have that, man. So
for my own personal enjoyment.
Man.
Oh, she was naked. She was naked, by the way.
Oh well,
even better. Yes,
naked is everything, man. So you guys got anything?
Oh, Tony, come on now.
What?
We're not going to talk about the Aaliyah movie?
Oh yeah, you know what?
God.
Yeah,
oh,
but
my goodness.
I'll be honest. I did not watch the movie. That's
because Tony played Timberland. So that's the problem. Tony Scott as Timberland.
But the I didn't watch the movie, and
smart man,
because people watched it so they could crack on it. It gave that movie some of the highest ratings in Lifetime's history. So mission accomplished. You can say what you want, but the bottom line is, if you're Wendy Williams, you're happy.
Well, I don't know, Tony. I don't know if I'm going. I don't know if I'm going with that line because that's what she said. But I don't know if that's just because is a billion people watched your product and it sucked. I don't know if that's the goal.
But here's the thing though, the billion people that watched, to use your words, just that in itself is going to get her a deal to produce another movie.
No, Tony, we've instituted a couple of things on our program. First, we have the Brubaker.
Yeah.
Which I'm not giving out right now.
No.
And then the other thing we have is the Wyclef. and that's what Wendy Williams is going to get. She's getting a Wyclef today.
What is
one time? you put a movie like this together, and I don't know. Everybody on this planet could have watched it.
Yeah.
If it was as bad as everyone appears to say it was, you only get
one time.
That's it. Now, to me, it was penciled in as a failure when they couldn't get permission to use the music.
Yeah, that the family's love. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's like doing a movie on Oprah and not being allowed to use her TV career in the movie.
Though they did do that with the Jimi Hendrix project with Andre 3000.
Yeah, and where did that movie go? I mean, that movie, it came out and where? It went straight to DVD?
Yeah, I think artistically the critics liked it, but yeah, it didn't have as many people watch it. So
bottom line, right?
You have a point there, Tony.
Yeah.
It was in some ways more successful than this one.
Yeah.
Well, you know, one of my favorite biopics, if we're talking about music, is Troy, is it biopics or biopic? I'm always thrown off. Is it biopic? Is it both ways? I don't know. Go ahead. I don't know.
All right.
You do say that, and I hear it, and I'm like, and people say it, I'm just like,
I've heard people say biopic as well, but you know.
Okay.
Well, I always thought it was biopic because it's a biographical picture.
Yeah. One of my favorite movies about people who have lived in the past is the Jim Morrison film about the Doors.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's first of all, it's long. I mean, you get a real sense of who he was, how the band came together. I mean, it's really a great film.
It is.
And this, there's no way you can even compare these two.
No.
But the thing about it is, in my opinion, these films are good whether the music is there or not, because the story about the person is compelling. Mm-hmm. But you have to do a good job telling the story. Who cares about the music? I mean, the music is obviously, they are a musician if we're talking about artists, an artist like Aaliyah.
But we wouldn't know anything about Aaliyah if it wasn't for her music.
Absolutely. But my point is, you know, that's like the icing on the cake. Because we all know the songs. Tell me a great story about her.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you have to find a way to incorporate the music. And but even before that, Troy, when word got out that the family didn't sign off on it and they were not being allowed to use the music, to me that doomed the project right there. And then the girl who was going to play Aaliyah pulled out. It was like, there's too many signs here, man, and this is going to be bad. This is going to be bad to me.
I think I'm with Tony on this one. I'm with Troy on this one, Tony. I think you got recognizable people who could have provided interesting stories, but the casting, I understand, was just terrible.
Yeah.
You know, and the acting was just terrible, as Charles Barkley says. But because the story, there's enough juice in there without the music that I think you could at least dealt with that. But I think the bad casting and the bad acting pretty much killed it. But I'm with you, Tony, as far as with somebody who's a pop culture kind of phenomenon, when there's no reference to the songs and that kind of stuff, it is kind of weird. But I think you could have milked it, you know. But I don't know.
When Timbaland dropped a whole mixtape, this movie, I mean, you know, that's unbelievable. Tony, the signs were there. Go away.
I mean,
this project.
Yeah, the signs were there. But I just think if you're going to do a movie about someone who we really through her music, otherwise, if she was not a recording artist, we never would have heard of Aaliyah, right?
If we're honest, Tony, she didn't have that big of a library. It was 3 songs. So
but you know,
you had enough. She had more scandal than she did songs. Mary Shaw Kelly, you know, Timberland, Missy Elliott, you know, it's kind of like Dame Dash. She had more scandals than she did music. But somebody said, and when you think about it, we are in the radio, so we know Aaliyah. But people are like, well, what exactly did she sing? And you're like, you know, that's your best year of love.
Yeah.
You know, the one with the baby. What's it called?
Are you that somebody? Yeah.
When you really think about it, Tony.
Yeah. Back and forth.
Age ain't nothing but a number.
Rock the boat.
I think the problem.
3-page letter.
When you're talking about telling a person's story,
I don't know.
when you're talking about telling a person's story, the best place to tell a person's story, perhaps, would be a movie theater. When you're talking about a television show, already that's a step down. That's like, this there easily could be an Aaliyah movie for the screen with the kind of, if you had somebody who could really tell the story, if they really wanted to trick it all the way out. But now we've taken a step back. We're going to put it on TV.
Well, Troy, you're telling me you didn't like the Flex Alexander Michael Jackson story?
So,
another Wyclef Award winner.
Another Wyclef.
You're telling me you did not enjoy the Jeffrey Osborne story?
Oh, no, I didn't. No,
on BET?
Starring Secretariat.
It was Secretariat's only acting role.
Oh, no. I'm sorry, Jeffrey. I love you, man. You know
Damn, Tony. Well, there goes our guest panel.
Well, you know what? I mean, now what about the way... Okay, we've talked about the film. We've given it a Wyclef. What about Wendy Williams' reaction to the film?
Yeah. Now, it's interesting. I asked, being in New York, I asked a couple of fans, and they were cool with it. But again, I think us and Wendy, she knows damn better. She did what she said, what Tony said. Hey, love it or hate it, it was successful because so many people watched it. Yeah,
everybody has an opinion.
But you came up in a generation where it wasn't about that, Wendy, and you know damn well.
Yeah, but
the fact that you were added to it made some people believe that even though it sounds like it's going to be a piece of crap, the fact that Wendy put her name up on it, she's not going to let it be a piece of crap because she's so critical, and that didn't happen.
Wow.
And she spent about 2.7 seconds
yes.
talking about it.
Well,
now,
Hot Topics was 20 times longer than hers. 20 times.
Yeah. Well.
So.
All right, then. That's the name of the episode. Is Wendy Williams Gets a Wyclef. That's what we'll call this one. So.
Why not?
But that's our show. Men on Everything. Appreciate you watching and sharing and everything like that. I have, I have this event coming up on December 5th if you're in the St. Louis area called Tony Scott Live, where I'm going to do my podcast live from a very popular restaurant in Ferguson called Kathy's Kitchen. It'll be December 5th. That's a Friday night from 6 to 8 p.m. You're invited to come by. If you want to eat or drink, though, getting in is free, but if you want to eat or drink, that's on your dime.
Yeah,
brother still ain't got an income, so, but... also, if you're in the St. Louis area, I actually did get a new job doing weekends on Old School 95.5. I get a brew baker for that, man.
And tier.
So it was a process. Boogie, who's the Boogie D, is the operations manager there, and when I was working at my old radio job, him and we had developed a friendship, and we would have lunch periodically. And he told me one time flat out, he said, hey, man, if anything ever happens to you, and I'm not saying I wanted to because I know how important your job is to you, but if anything was to happen, trust me, he says, we will find something for you over here. And he kept his word. And you don't get a lot of that in our business anymore. So, out
of respect, Tony calls him Mr. Boogie D, which is also why he likes Tony so much.
Well, I call him
Mr. Boogie D.
Mr. Boogie D. So I will be on Saturday from 2 to 6. And Sunday from 3 to 7 on 95.5 in St. Louis. You can listen. They have an app, Old School 95.5 St. Louis. You can download it and listen on your app. So get it on your phone and listen from around the country. All right. So I appreciate that. Also,
Tony puts the old in Old School.
Man, come on, man. I'm telling you. I'm telling you. So we got all that going on. Do a podcast every weekday. You can check it out on the website at talking360.com. We got it back up again, so we're good with that. And again, if you could share this, if you could give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the YouTube channel, all that helps and doesn't cost a dime. Doesn't do that. We'll have our final Men on Scandal before the winter break later this week. So if you haven't seen that, you can watch it. Let me see if we get this right over here. You can watch it right here. I'll put it right here. You can just click on that
It's up there.
It's right here, right here. So there you go. So appreciate you watching. All right, sharing and all that stuff. Mark Clark is in New York City at Radio 103.9. Troy Johnson is in Washington, D.C. with WHUR. I'm Tony Scott with Old School 95.5, and we will see you next time. Thanks.